Thanks, David, for having me. I think it's plainly obvious why I signed on to the letter. I have a 6-year-old daughter, and I'm increasingly anxious about our future in terms of not just growing instability caused by climate change, but as the letter states, the out-of-control deficit and military spending. We just cannot afford to continue on this path, and has devastating consequences for our security here as Americans, but also on the lives of our friends and families around the world living near US bases. I've traveled extensively throughout South Korea and met with South Koreans impacted directly by the US military and the bases, whether it's women who have worked around the US camp towns and sex brothels, who were subjected to really horrific, gross human rights violations in terms of treatment. I've met with farmers. I've seen schools destroyed, community centers, homes, caused by the expansion of the largest US military base in the world, Camp Humphreys in Pyeongtaek. I've heard from South Korean civilian groups who are very concerned about the environmental impact, whether it's the hidden burial of Agent Orange all throughout South Korea. But one group recently submitted a FOIA request about the Yongsan military base, and they found that from 1990 to 2015, there were 84 reports of toxic environmental contamination near and at Yongsan base, which is in Seoul. So I'm here to give voice to those people who cannot speak directly to US lawmakers or to the American public. As someone who has long worked for peace on the Korean Peninsula, there hasn't been a more fitting moment to be having this conversation. Most Americans don't realize this, but 2018 has been a banner year for peace on the Korean Peninsula, where the threat of nuclear war has been eclipsed by the prospect of finally ending the 70-year Korean War. The two Korean leaders, South Korean President Moon Jae-in and North Korean Chairman Kim Jong-un, they've signed two historic agreements, the Panmunjom Declaration and the Pyongyang Declaration. They've set forth opening up a liaison office, so there's 24/7, 365 days a year dialogue between the two governments. They've resumed family reunions, civil society engagements. They've demilitarized the border dividing Korea. Last week, we saw images that were tweeted virally of North and South Korean soldiers shaking hands at the DMZ. They've already begun to demine a portion of the DMZ. So this is happening. And as we also witnessed, Donald Trump met with Kim Jong-un. Clearly, there is a lot of work yet to be done between the US and North Korea, but in that Singapore statement, they committed to establishing new US-DPRK relations in accordance with the desires of the people for peace and prosperity. So given the diplomatic breakthrough, the historic moment that we're in, this is the time now to be having this conversation. So thank you for allowing me to offer this point of view.
Thank you so much, especially for your joining us.